We ready? Okay, let's welcome our guest, the president of your university, Dr. Peter Foss.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we did this once, but let's go around the room, announce yourself and what your major is and what year you're here at UNO. Let's start with you.
Yeah.
My name is Antonia Shelton. I'm a freshman and I'm a marketing major.
My name's Carly Hartman, and I'm a freshman and I'm mechanical engineering.
Great. You said mechanical engineering.
My name is Christopher Cruz. I'm a freshman, sophomore, kind of a
Ish, yeah.
29 hours in accounting.
Great.
Debbie Owens. My major is sociology, my minor is anthropology, and I'm on the cusp of being a junior, 58 hours.
Good.
I'm Desiree Harold. I'm a junior. My major is film, writing for production.
Zachary Lemon, sophomore, business administration.
Me, Antoinette. I'm a senior in pre-dental hygiene.
Good. I used to practice dentistry.
Oh, nice.
Good. We can talk a little bit about that.
I'm Kara, and I'm a sophomore. I'm a liberal arts communications and theater major.
Hi, I'm Jabrielle Manuel. I'm a psychology major and I'm also a senior.
My name is Jade Saravia, and I'm a sophomore in film and sociology.
My name is Marion Weininger, and I'm a senior in business administration.
I'm Ian Harper. I'm a junior and a marketing major.
All the way on this end.
I'm Joseph. I'm a freshman and I'm a mechanical engineer.
Okay, good.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Parnell. I'm a senior in the urban planning program.
Good.
I'm Mason Richard. I'm a junior and I'm an anthropology major.
I'm Jerome, and I'm here.
I'm Whitney Westfall.
I'm Nicole Kurtz.
It's good to meet all of y'all. You need to start this, I guess. So.
Well, no, I think what would be great is if you want to give us a little bit of what your background is, because I think that they'll find it pretty interesting
Sure.
to see a university president who actually
Sure.
practiced some of the things you did.
Yeah, well, I'm a native New Orleanian. Are the native New Orleanians in here? Good. That's good. We're special people. Him too, he didn't raise his hand. And first went to public schools in the city. In fact, my grammar school was at the time called Charles E. Garray, which then became Aretha Castle Haley, which has not opened since Hurricane Katrina. I grew up in the 8th Ward, right around St. Roch Playground. Anybody know what that is? Okay, walking distance. They're just going to reopen the St. Roch Market. It's been in the newspaper. I used to walk there and get my grandmother to get seafood. About Franklin Avenue and St. Claude. Then when I was in 5th grade, my grandparents convinced my parents to put me in Catholic school because we were Catholic. So I went to Annunciation Grammar School, which no longer is there anymore. Every place I've been to is not there anymore. Then went to Holy Cross High School, which was then in the lower 9th Ward, which is now about 4 blocks from here. Graduated, I won't tell you when, but I graduated a few years ago. And then decided I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I had told my dad I wanted to go to Loyola University because I wanted to be a dentist. And he said, okay. So I took the SAT exam and was accepted into Loyola. And then they sent a letter telling how much it cost. And I didn't know we were poor. And then when they told me what it was going to cost, and the letter came, they said it just cost this, and we guarantee you it will go up these certain percentages every year. So my dad sat me down and said, we can't afford to send you there. So I was kind of crushed, so I didn't know what to do. I haven't told you this side of the story.
I don't think so.
So a good friend of mine in high school was going to a University of Southwestern Louisiana, which we now call UL Lafayette. And so I said, well, I'll go there and be his roommate. So I went there, and I didn't take the ACT exam, so they wouldn't let me in until I took an exam because they didn't accept the SAT. Have y'all all took the ACT? Anybody took the SAT in here? Yeah. Well, then they wouldn't take it. Here at University of New Orleans, we actually converted to school. But back when I had to spend my first day of class, I had to take a 5-hour exam, like the ACT again, which was not too much fun. So I stayed there about 2 years, and my dad gets ill, and again, I didn't know we were poor, and so he went on disability, so I had to come back home, and I came to the University of New Orleans, which was the best thing that ever happened to me, because when I was over there, I really didn't care about studying too much. 12-ounce Budweiser draft was 25 cents. You could drink when you were 18, as I'm telling you my age. So I spent a lot of time at this bar called the Keg. $1 could get you drunk. I mean, four 12-ounce beers, 18, 19-year-old person, you're really ready to go back to the dorm, go to sleep for $1. And so I came back here, and then I got real serious and decided I really wanted to go to dental school. And I think I took 75 credits here and got like a 3.9 something, because I was living at home and doing Christmas break and summer break. I worked on the riverfront. I was a longshoreman. I didn't know that either. I carried bananas one summer, because Chiquita Bananas is coming back. Y'all don't read the newspaper, huh? It's coming back. I carried bananas at Chiquita Banana, which was in a big 40-pound. When you go to the grocery store and you see the box opened up and bananas are sitting in it, I used to carry those from the conveyor belt into trucks and into railroad cars. That wasn't a lot of fun either. And then I was a sweeper on a wharf. They call it Cooper. I was a water boy. Actually, in those days you had to make buckets of water that was coolers that they put down to hold the ship, because the men down there needed water. And then I graduated to be a clerk. I used to take the paperwork and check out things. So I did that while I was here at UNO. And then when I wasn't working on the riverfront, I worked at D.H. Homes. Nobody knows about D.H. Homes, huh? D.H. Homes. Okay. They had a parking garage right behind it on Iberville Street. I used to work 3 nights a week, parking garage, 6 o'clock to 2 a.m. The good part about it, I got a lot of studying done, because people usually came in about 6 and they started leaving about midnight. So from about 6:30 to about midnight, I get a lot of studying done, because the call would come every 35 minutes or so. Then, of course, it all come running out at the end of the night. And I got $1.80 an hour, I'll never forget. And then I graduated from here and decided got into LSU Dental School. I graduated from here in 1972. I was 8.5 years old when that happened. I was very bright. I was very bright when I was young. And then I went to LSU Dental School, and I did that. Did well. And then I graduated in 1976. I was the first class that used that new building on Florida Avenue. When you come I-610, you see the LSU Dental School. I was the first class to use that building the entire time that they were in school, because they built the building new. Loyola actually stopped their dental school. I'm kind of smart. I didn't go there and waste my dad's money. And I was in the first class that used that building. They called us the charter class, because we were the first one to use that building. That were in other parts of that. It was used to be on Navy base or something like that. Then I practiced dentistry for 10 years. In my 10th summer as a dentist, I was in an automobile accident. A gentleman T-boned me, is what you call it. I was driving on Canal Street, and he was coming on South Roman, and just didn't stop. Came right across the street and kind of messed me up pretty good. I had 2 surgeries on my shoulder and my back. This left hand's still a little numb, so I couldn't practice dentistry anymore. So now what the hell I did was good. Now what I do with myself? I was 36 years old and couldn't work in the profession that I trained for, and you've always wanted to do what you want to do for a long time. What do you do now? After 4 years of dental school, 10 years of practice, and probably 10 years before that wanting to be a dentist, what do you do? So I decided I needed more education. So I went to Tulane University, School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine, got a degree in healthcare administration. I said, if I'm going to do something else, I might as well do something close to what I was doing. So I did that, really liked it. So I got a PhD in healthcare administration, actually healthcare decision analysis. Then started working at Tulane. I worked 17 years at Tulane in the healthcare administration program. And then I decided to leave. My wife tells the story, and she always says this. I don't really remember this. I don't know if anybody has a spouse or significant other. They tell you, you told me last year this, and you say, I never told you that. But they're so sure that you must have really said it. Right? Am I right? That she said, she now tells me that I said we have to leave Tulane because I want to be a university president. What I remember saying was I need to leave Tulane because I'd gotten to the point where I'd hit the ceiling. I was an associate dean, and there was no other place for me to go up. You'll find out in your career, you'll get to a point you'll say, well, if I stay here, I'm going to have this job for the rest of my life, so maybe I go somewhere else so I can do something else. So I left, and I went out to UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Sounds exciting, huh? I worked at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Not a really nice place to live, Las Vegas. Anybody has ever visited Las Vegas? Great to visit, let me tell you, huh? Have a fun time, but it's a real fast city. Everybody's trying to, this is a downtown, everybody's trying to get over on you. How do we say that in that lingo?
Yeah, I get it.
They're trying to get over on you. I mean, you know, no matter where you live, they're trying to sell you a house not worth what it is. I mean, it's a very fast city. Didn't enjoy it at all. Only stayed out there a year. My son, who's now 27, Tim, went there in ninth grade. There were more students in his high school than he had in the entire school district before we moved there. Vegas is a big place, okay? There's 2 million people in Nevada, and there's 1.7 million of them live in Las Vegas. And 200,000 live in Reno and Carson City, and the rest of the people sprinkled around like salt and pepper. It's really a crazy place. So he was telling me kids at lunchtime would put on $100 bills to buy the $7 lunch and stuff like that. It's just a really fast place, so he didn't like it. So, and he's a pretty strong kid. He's not very emotional. So I told my wife, you know, say, hey, this Vegas isn't so nice of a place. The job was good. They paid you a lot of money because I would like to live there. And I said, it's Vegas. So one day he came home, my son cried. I don't think my son's cried twice in his life. He's just, you know, he's a good kid. He's not that emotional because he just got tired of people picking on him because he came from Louisiana, which they always thought we were hicks and stuff, okay, which you never think that. So we left. And I got a job at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg. Anybody ever heard of that? Okay. I worked there 4 years. I became a dean, which is the next higher level. I was a department chair, became a dean. I was there 4 years and had an opportunity to be a university vice president. So I left and went to Tyler, Texas. Anybody's ever been to Tyler, Texas? Don't go there. Okay. It's a kind of place I like to explain to people like that. If you're not from Texas and you're not Baptist, they don't want to talk to you. And I'm not from Texas. I'm not Baptist. And it's really it's a very segregated city. It's a very interesting city. It's passed through really quick. It's on the way to Dallas from Shreveport. But luckily, it's 10 miles south of I-20. But we really like that. But I stayed there 3 years. I was executive vice president and professor. I was in charge of all academic programs at the university. And it's part of the University of Texas system. You know, when we see Texas on TV, it says University of Texas. They're the University of Texas at Austin. We were the University of Texas at Tyler. There were 7 other ones too. University of Texas at Dallas, at Arlington, El Paso. So whenever you see it on TV, University of Texas, well, they were University of Texas at Austin when we were there. I didn't like living in Texas. I'll tell you that. Anybody lived in Texas before? Yeah, where did you live? Not in Tyler, huh? Oh, but that's a very different place, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, that's cities, but you know. So I decided that I needed to get out of Texas. So in I guess the summer of 2010, I applied to be the president of the University of Louisiana at Monroe. Anybody been to Monroe? Okay. A little bit better than Tyler, Texas, but it's not New Orleans. Okay. And I was a finalist to be the president of the University of Louisiana at Monroe. Didn't get the job. But we had the opportunity to come back to Louisiana, my wife and I, 3 or 4 times. So in October, I learned that I wasn't going to be the president. So Christmas time, we decided that we'd move back to New Orleans. We're away 10 years. My wife's from, if you count it across the river, it's New Orleans. My wife's also from New Orleans, yeah. She's from Algiers and Gretna. And, you know, you from Gretna? Anybody from Algiers or Gretna? Anybody from Gretna? Algiers? Okay, my wife's from there, but we'll claim her as a New Orleanian if that's okay. I can't say this in front of her. But anyway, so interestingly, for those of you as you're beginning your careers, every time I've had a job, my wife's had to come with me. And in university nomenclature, she's a trailing spouse, they call it. It's, you know, and so I'd get a job and then she'd pack the house up and come meet me, and then we'd try to find a job for her. Well, I get the bright idea we're going back to New Orleans, so I call a few people. My wife's got a master's degree in education and taught at universities. I call a couple of friends of mine I went to high school with that heads of charter schools. My wife gets a job 2.5 months before I do. So guess who was the trailing spouse? Me. I had a garage sale, which I'll never do again as long as I live, and I had to be there when the movers came to pack up. which I'll never do again. I mean, I came home and I said, when I finally got back to New Orleans, I said, I've always loved you. I love you about that much more now. I haven't gone through that. So my wife got a job, and I got a job at LSU Health Science Center teaching healthcare administration. Sounds pretty good. I became a program director of the healthcare administration program and worked right downtown by the LSU Medical Center. You see off the interstate. And interesting comparison was when I was a provost at the University of Texas at Tyler, I was responsible for an $85 million budget, 320 faculty members, about 400 staff, and responsible for everything on the academic side of the university, which is about 85% of what we do. We do other stuff at the university. I get the job at LSU. I've got a $24,000 budget to be in charge of, 4 faculty members and 16 students. Oh, by the way, UT Tyler has about 7,800 students. You talk about a change. So about the first couple of weeks at work, I'd get there at 8 o'clock like I do all the time. At about 10:30, I had nothing else to do. Because as a university administrator, you got stuff all, I mean, I won't be home tonight till 10 o'clock. And I left the house this morning at 7:30. I may have to go to a dinner for Steve Scalise. So, and at 10:30 in the morning, I was finished. There was nothing else for me to do. So I did that for about 6 months, and then I went home one day and told my wife, I said, there's not enough juice in this job. Y'all get me? And I feel like I ought to, be embarrassed when they give me the check. They're happy as heck about me. They think I'm doing a great job and everything, and I'm saying, wow, it's been a long time since I was a faculty member. As this is going on, the University of New Orleans gets transferred from the LSU system to the University of Louisiana system. Some of y'all don't even know what that means. But it's the rules we have to follow in Baton Rouge. We had to follow all the rules that LSU had, and we were part of their system, and then we were switched. Then we became part of the University of Louisiana system. There's 8 other schools here: Southeastern, Nicholls State, McNeese State, UL Lafayette, UL Monroe, Grambling State University, Northwestern State. Am I forgetting somebody? I think, did I say, was that 8?
I think you
Yeah, I'm not forgetting anybody, okay. And now we follow those new sets of rules. So I see that they switched, and I read in the newspaper that they switched like in June. The governor signed it. It was 2011. I'd only been, is it 2011? No, 2011. And so I came home and told my wife, I said, they're going to be looking for a president soon. It's my alma mater. It's her alma mater. My wife graduated from education. It's the same board that I was a finalist in UL Monroe just about a year, not quite a year before. I said, I really think I have to apply for the job. You tell me I want to be a university president, that's why we moved, that's how I alma mater. Thought about it for a while, and so sure enough, about a month later, they put an ad out that they would need a president. So I go back home, and I said, I could do the job at LSU with half my brain tied behind my back, as they say. But it really wasn't enough. If I tell you anything, don't ever be satisfied. Okay, be challenged. Make sure you get the most out of what you can give, and go somewhere where you can really make a contribution. And so, because actually I was paid quite well at LSU, by the way, because of my dental degree, I got a premium. You get paid more because physicians get paid more. I actually was making a very nice wage, and wasn't working really hard. And so we talked about it for about an hour, and I applied. Because the way the U.S. system works, they interview the spouse of the president as well as the president's candidate. My wife had to go to interviews and everything, sometimes with me, sometimes without me. And so I became a semifinalist, came to campus, and then I became a finalist on December the 9th. I was selected, of 2011, I was selected president of the university. The day before, we officially became part of the UL system. So it's been confusing. I started January 17th, 2012. Been here, I'm almost into 3 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this January will be 3 years. Seems like yesterday, and sometimes it seems like an eternity. So that's me. That's me. I have 2 children. My daughter's 31. My son's 27. 2 grandchildren. My daughter's children. Grandson 8 and granddaughter 5, who's going on 35. I tell people she's really a mess. And that's me.
So let's talk about career opportunities. So you've had a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for selecting the correct career, or how do you know you're doing the right thing?
Well, I don't think you really know. I mean, first of all, I don't think you really know. I really enjoyed practicing dentistry. It's what I always wanted to do. But I can't tell you I don't enjoy doing what I do now, or what I've done since then. I think people tell you, an opportunity knocks, open the door. I think opportunity comes sometimes when you least expect it, if that makes sense. And people that say, I'm going to do this job for 3 years, and I'm going to go do this, do that, do that, that's very difficult to follow through because you can't control everything. And if somebody else has a plan for you, and the person's not here on this earth, okay? He or she's somewhere else. So I think you just have to look for your opportunities. And if I give you any advice, kind of whatever you do here at this university should be your foundation. So you said you're in film, right? In screenwriting, maybe you do something in film, not screenwriting. Did you tell me screenwriting? Did I hear you correct?
I didn't say that,
But you know what I mean? You do post-production for a while, but then there's a screenwriting. So always build on what you're doing. And always try to improve yourself. I can never be satisfied. I left one little part out. For about 18 months, I worked for the Mississippi State Department of Health in between Vegas and Mississippi. I figured that wouldn't excite you too much. And I had first time I got there, I talked to all the people who reported to me. Actually, 78 people reported to me. I worked at the central office in Jackson. So I wanted to know what their background was. I had a woman who had a bachelor's degree in journalism from, I think, Ole Miss. And I decided that I wanted to start a newsletter just in the agency. I was a deputy state health officer. A newsletter in the agency about things and about training and about benefits and that. And so I asked her, what do you do? What is your job? For 15 years, she'd fill out order requisitions. Like if you needed a toner for your computer, she filled it out. If you needed a new computer, she filled it out. If you needed paper, she filled it out. That's what she did for 15 years. And then she logged it, and when the stuff came in, she did something else to say it was there. I said, would you want to be the editor of this thing? She told me no. I'd get a degree in journalism. Why? She says, I'm happy with what I'm doing. Well, we could have trained somebody with a very low IQ, forgive me, with little education to do a job she did. In fact, that was probably a better person to have there, give somebody the work, if you know what I mean, who's less educated. But she was happy for 15 years. She said, I only got 5, in 10 more years I can retire. And I can never understand that about people. Why in the world would you? And it would have been a raise and all this other stuff. And she was civil service. She wouldn't have lost her job. And she said, no, I'm satisfied filling out these requisitions. Wow. That's why I left the health department, by the way, for a couple of reasons. But so always try to make yourself better, make your situation better. And probably half of you here, you know what you're going to do when you graduate. You'll probably end up doing something differently before you retire, at least half of you.
What do you look for when you are hiring people? What type of advice do you give when you're going for a job interview, whether it's your first professional job or if it's a transitional job? What advice do you have for that?
Right. Well, first of all, people really pay attention to what you look like. You can have long hair, but make sure it's clean. There's always a commercial on TV that show the kids with the tattoos and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden they're really good kids, young people. And it said, don't judge a book by cover. People judge a book by cover. The consultants will tell you that I've hired consultants to help me hire people. They'll tell me so and so presents well. That means they're neat, they're clean, their hair is okay. You can have long hair. And the shirt is not wrinkled, their dress is ironed. So you got to have good presentation. So you look for some people that come to work, because you can have tattoos in it, that's okay, by the way. But just present well. Does that make sense? Okay, so you look for that first, does somebody present well? 2, I'm looking for people who want to be part of your team. I've come here, I've actually changed out every vice president since I'm here. I don't know if y'all knew that. We had 6 vice presidents. I eliminated 1 position. I got 5 new people because I'm responsible. And whoever you go interview with, they'll be responsible for something at that organization. So I want people that want to do what I want to do, because I'm responsible for the university. I'm responsible for the vision of the university. I'm responsible for stuff. So they want to know people who want to be on a team. So, and part of it, and I need to tell you this, Mr. Mayfield, is that you interview the person as well when you go for a job interview. You want to make sure you want to work there. It sounds kind of counterintuitive. You get out of school, your parents all over you because you need a job, and you're going to take. So I'm not telling you not to take the first job offered, but interview them as well. And the worst thing that when I talk to somebody, I say, do you have any questions of me? And they say, no. Well, I'm not so sure I want that person to work for me. You know, you're gonna ask things about, you know, the work environment, you know, what's advancement, you know, you can ask about, don't ask about how many days off you get the first interview. People do, by the way. They say, how many vacation days do I get? Don't ask that until you start, you know, later on. But, you know, ask them questions about what they do and about how the company's growing or whatever, and try to get a feel of expectations of other people. So present well, try to understand if you want to be part of their team, and you almost got to do like a consultant. Whatever they ask you, would you do this for the organization? Say, yes, of course I would. Be honest and say, well, I've done it before, but I've had a good preparation at the university. I've had other work, and I can learn anything that I need to do for my job. And ask them questions. Ask the person who's interviewing you, how long have you been the manager?
All right, let's
right.
take it to ground zero, UNO.
Oh, okay,
Let's talk about all the things that you are excited about,
okay.
and then let's talk about all the things that you're not excited
Okay, I got notes, actually.
about. Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, I need to tell you this, when I first got here, started January of the 11-12 academic year. And for university administrators, it's the worst time to start because the budget was set back in July. All the recruitment of students already happened, the plan was set in July. All the people they decided they were going to hire for the next year happened in July. So I really had no control over what happened actually in my first year and a half at university. So that was tough. So that kind of bothered me. But what I'm excited about is that my first fall here, which was fall 2012, the state instituted new admission standards. You'll all know about that. And the biggest change that affected us is that if you needed remediation in math or English, means if your ACT score was equal to or lower than 19 in math and 18 in English, you could no longer come to the University of New Orleans. Now, that sounds great. We have more students who are better prepared to go to school. Well, with 700 freshmen a year, we couldn't admit. So you say, okay, that's good. It'd be shorter lines in the cafeteria and things like that. But the financial result is that it reduced our income about $3 million. Okay? So less $3 million less is less that I can give Mr. Mayfield and other professors to do things. So we've had a struggle to make sure that what you're receiving here at the university, not only in the classroom but outside, is still the best experience you can get, and it costs money. And we've actually I think we've done a pretty good job with that. I don't think most students have not even noticed that we've had these problems, which is one of my goals. So I wasn't too excited. So from the last 2 years, we've averaged 780 less students total enrollment each year. And every time that goes down, and I had to lay off 28 people last February, which isn't really good because I didn't have enough money to pay the rest of them. Well, I'm happy to tell you that we have actually leveled off. Enrollment's still down a little bit. We're going to be down about 50 to 70 students this fall compared to last fall. We should be 800. So I'm excited that we've leveled off, and people don't have to be laid off anymore, and we have we'll be more stable in the money that we get. That makes me happy. And now we got to try to get people back. Now, nobody was in math, but you engineers, as a 2-year in engineering, you understand math a little bit. If I take in 700 students more the last 2 or 3 years than I do this year, my enrollment's got to go down because I'm graduating more people than's coming new. It's really simple. We have to get as many new students as the students who graduate or leave. That's pretty simple. Well, we can't really do that because there's 700 less students that would normally come that I can't even accept anymore. So enrollment's been doing this, and it's done this now, which is good because we're doing better at replacing those people. This will affect us through 2016 because people that started in 2008 and 9 will graduate in 2016. Okay, so to be even is actually a victory, if you understand that, because we got to the point where we're almost replacing the people we lost. Now, we still haven't replaced the 1,600 that we've lost over the last 2 years, but then we'll slowly start building that back up. So why is that important? The more students we have here, the more revenue we get, and the more things I can do for students. And you say, well, wait a minute, we're a state-funded university. Don't we get money from the state? And the answer is yes. Do you know how much we get now? What percentage do you think our overall budget comes from the state university? 50%? Is that reasonable? More? We're a state university. I'm not trying to set you up. You think 50%? Okay, more than 50% or less. What would be your guess?
20%.
Huh?
Like 20%.
It's 28% this year. Okay. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because
It
we're
used to
state.
be what?
In 07, 08, it was 68% of our budget. And the budget was bigger. It's 128 million. Our budget this year is 102. So students are more important to us than they've ever been. And I've been fighting, by the way, my vice president of enrollment management says the students first. I've been fighting staff to treat you properly when you're not in the classroom. And if you go into the PE, I built a PEC, so it'd be easy for you to register and stuff like that. If you go into the registrar's office in other buildings, there's a sign that says "Service with Heart." Do you ever see those signs? Read them. Number one says students are customers. Treat them as their customers. And it goes down the list. Treat them, be polite, be helping. When I first got here, it wasn't like that at all. And I've had more complaints when I first got here that the advisors told them the wrong thing. All of you are freshmen, you go into the PEC to be advised. That happened since I'm here, because otherwise we'd say, go down the hall to room 287 and ask for Mrs. Jones. You'd walk down there, Mrs. Jones has a day off, they say she's off, so I'll come back tomorrow. That makes you pretty happy, right, as a new student? That's what's happened to you. Now when you go there, if Mrs. Jones isn't there, somebody else helps you, right? At least if not, let me know, because I got to straighten that out. So we're trying to make this university, so I'm excited about that, because we want more and more students. So I'm excited that this university is beginning to turn around from all the problems that it had. And these were problems, by the way, before Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina hurt us. But these were problems that existed for years here. But nobody cared about you because we got 70, 80% of the money from the state. So your tuition was just kind of extra money. It's like, that was like a bonus. And nobody understood overall. Some people did, but overall, nobody understood that the only reason why this university exists is because of you. Not me or Mr. Mayfield, Professor Mayfield, but because of you. We exist because of you. We're beginning to understand that around here. I've been beating it in people's heads. So I'm excited about that starting to change. Also, I'm excited that every residence hall on campus is full. Anybody lives in any residence halls? Where do you live?
Lafitte Village.
In Lafitte Village, nice? You like it? Let me know if anything happens.
Think the parking lot could improve.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're doing,
Worst parking lot on the campus.
we're doing our best, okay? We're doing the best, yeah. I will tell Mr. Davis that today, by the way. No, I want to know. That was the last, somebody's in business administration, I'm trying to remember. Business administration, okay, yeah. It's the only building on campus that we didn't have any debt, which meant we didn't have to pay for it. It was the last building on campus we opened up after Hurricane Katrina. Is that good business? So any money we make, we don't really make a lot, but any profit, we put in a reserve fund to build the parking lot. It was the very last building we opened up. All the other ones that we built up first was ones that we didn't make any money on. That's a terrible business decision. It's also the building that most graduate students live in, and our graduate student enrollment is not coming back as quickly as it should. Now the building's you're full now, I think. You might have one extra room in there. So, and actually, I didn't open it after I got here. I made them open it up. So as soon as we build the reserves, I'll do your parking lot. Okay, I'll get that done. Okay. So that's good to have people on campus, because it ought to be alive, this campus. The other ones are full, even Punch Train Property, a place which we don't own, by the way. The university don't own it. They're just about full. But we're beginning to have things on campus. If you don't live on campus, come back for some of the things. They had a luau. They had 400 people went to it. They've had different things. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of stuff's going on. So be a little involved if you can. I'm trying to keep the Cove open later, too, so you can move it in. Okay, I'm working for you every day now. So I'm really excited about that. That's really, the university is starting to really become a real university. We have all the life and activity on campus.
What are your expectations for graduates?
What do you mean?
Somebody graduates.
What's my
alumni.
expectation? You mean to give back? No. No, here's my expectation. I'm still saying the good stuff, okay?
Okay.
My expectation is that you don't get a job when you graduate from here. You get a career. It's a difference. Like I told you, the first job interview them as well. I don't want you just to have a job and that you're filling out purchase orders and you're satisfied. I want you to have a career that will really prepare you. Now, the good thing that makes me happy, I have to go all around the city all the time. In fact, I have to go tonight. Congressman Steve Scalise, anybody heard of him? He's the majority whip in the United States Congress. He's third in command of the House of Representatives. He's fourth in line to succeed the president. If you think about that, it's the vice president, speaker of the House, majority leader, and the whip. He's fourth in line to be president of the United States of America. He lives in Metairie, Louisiana. So there's a dinner tonight in his honor by John Georges, who owns the Morning Advocate newspaper. And I've been invited to it, so I'm going to go there and shake hands with people and tell them UNO's great and alive and all that stuff, and talk to him because he helps, Congressman Scalise helps us as well. In fact, I'm in Washington next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, Friday morning. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning, meeting the delegation, going up to Jefferson Parish Chamber of Commerce, just to let them know, don't forget us. And when we give you a call, send some federal money to us and stuff like that. But I'll go around and talk to business leaders. And not once have someone not told me, they'll tell me, well, we hire your students and they're the best prepared people we ever hire. Especially somebody who's in accounting. Well, I'm trying to remember. Somebody accounting, yes, okay. Especially accounting, but in film, and urban planning, okay, that they say, we don't have to really train you. Usually you get a job and they got to put you in training. They say they typically don't have to really train UNO graduates a lot. That makes me feel really good. What it tells me is that we're doing a good job preparing you for a career. Because you're going in there prepared. You'll see when you get out. You don't realize it, but you'll see. So that's all the good things.
Okay.
What's the bad things?
What are our challenges?
Here are the challenges. We still spend more money than we take in. All your business people, we spend more money than we bring in revenue because we're really operating as if we still had 17,000 students here, which you had the day before Katrina hit. We're going through, and you might have heard this, your freshmen hadn't heard it yet, but some of the other ones. We're going through an evaluation of all academic programs to see which ones we really should have. And we have 84 of them. As you know, we have that many different choices. We have 84 different programs. There aren't 84 different kind of jobs in the world anymore. We have more programs than we need. So the faculty are doing it, and they're going to decide at the end of October which programs we really need to have. The advice to me, I need to give it more money. Which programs that are okay, but let's keep an eye on them so they don't get weaker. Which programs might have to be merged with others, and which programs we should discontinue. Now, the Driftwood's all excited that we may discontinue programs, and I told a group of students this the other day, students are not adversely affected, but if I decide today to eliminate a program, it goes away in about 3 years. All right, so I don't save any money. It's not a matter of saving money because if I eliminate a program, it won't go away for 3 years. We may eliminate a few faculty along the way, but the UL system has rules that says that we have to make a reasonable attempt that every student can finish their degree programs. All you freshmen, let's assume I eliminate, I'm trying to remember, let's say I eliminate mechanical engineering, which I won't do. I have a commitment to let you graduate with a degree in mechanical engineering, so I can't really do anything to everybody who's here this fall finishes the program. Students say, you're going to do the program, I have to transfer. No, I'm not going to do that. Secondly, they say that if there's a program that's similar, or maybe you want to get in civil, that if you think it's okay, they're not going to allow you to transfer into civil if that's what you want to do. So the students aren't adversely affected. Now, why would we do it? Well, we got limited resources, and whether or not we save any money into the future, I'd like to be able to put money into other programs that we really need. The faculty are doing this. I'm not doing this. The faculty having meetings. They meet once a week, and they're going to recommend some programs. Now, if you read the newspaper, which my wife doesn't read the newspaper, but Loyola's doing exactly the same thing. Did you read that just the other day? Loyola's doing it. They did it 5 years ago. They decided they need to do it every 5 years because they want to be a forward-looking university, and they're going to eliminate programs and reorganize, and they're not interested in saving any money. They want to make sure that programs are aligned with the students' needs and business needs. it's a sin that allow you to major in a program that I know you can't get a job or career when you leave. I think that's a sin. And I don't know, because industry is telling us all the time, we want graduates to do this. If I don't know how many engineering students I have, but if I graduated 3 times more, they all would have a job, and the industry would tell me I need more. Anybody in computer science? No? Computer science right now, there's a GE Capital opened up a place downtown on St. Charles Avenue, 200 block. The guy came to see me a year ago, said, I need 300 of you graduates. We graduate 38 students a semester. He says, right now I want to hire 300 you. I'll take your entire graduating class. I said, Mike, it'll take 10 years. It's true. We only graduate about 500 or so computer science majors in the whole state. I don't know if you knew that. It's shocking, isn't it? Okay? And so we have an apprenticeship program with them that they're going to take. They're taking 15 students a year, and you go work down 20 hours a week. They pay you $12 an hour. The day you graduate from UNO, you have a job for $40,000, and you stay 2 more years in the apprenticeship program. And at the end of that 2 years, you can stay for them. They'll pay you $60,000. Well, you go work somewhere else. That's how desperately they want people. He's only hired 100 since he's been here a year and a half because he can't find computer science graduates. So maybe you want to change your major, huh? You know, if you're interested in it. So that's the kind of things industry tells me. So I have to be sure that we offer programs for you that I know you can have a career. Do you think that's unreasonable of me? Okay, do that. So don't be surprised if you hear the Driftwood's going to write a story about going to eliminate programs and students are not going to have to leave and all that. But they haven't interviewed me yet. That's all false. I would never do that. Now, the reason why they're saying that, nobody was here when Katrina hit, huh? You were here? No, nobody was here. Rita was here. They actually sat down one day, the president of university and 2 people, and they eliminated programs because it was Hurricane Katrina. Students left. They put students out. It was a very, very unusual, once in a 2 or 3 lifetime situation. So now students think anytime we talk about eliminating programs, we're going to come to you one day and say, sorry, no more chemical engineering, you got to go. That's not going to happen here. I'm telling you to tell your friends when you're reading the Driftwood. That's not going to happen here. Everybody who's here now who's chosen a major will graduate in that major, unless we find something that's better or meet your needs. So I'm a little worried, and I'm worried that we really have some programs we probably don't need. We're just about financially stable, and I don't sleep at night because of that.
What can the students do to assist UNO?
Where you can help me is that I know only one of y'all live in a dorm, right, in the residence hall. Tell people that UNO is really a special place. Have y'all? Those who've been here more than 2 or 3 weeks, it's really a special place, isn't it? All right, you can be honest with me, except I need to get your parking lot smoother. But it's really a neat place. I think we care about you. You're doing better with it. So let people know that University of New Orleans is alive and well. People, when they hired me, people thought I came to close the university. You know that, you heard that too. So you can help me by doing that. When you do graduate, don't be afraid to tell people you're a UNO graduate. Okay, be a proud privateer. Does anybody know? Anybody goes to student government meetings? No, that should go one time. I'm off the subject. The president of student government this year. By the way, what makes me proud of this university, we're the most diverse university in the state. I don't know if you knew that. When we were founded, we opened classes on September 12, 1958. We're the first fully integrated university in the South that opened up integrated. Other universities did it after the fact, which makes me proud. So we're most diverse. 2 years ago, the student government president is a resident of Honduras. Last year, Brandon Bonds, African American from Baton Rouge, was the student government president. This year, this guy named David Teagle lives in actually Lafitte Village. David's got children. He's an adult student, decided to come back to school full time, went to Delgado, and his wife and I think he's got 2 kids that live in Lafitte Village, and he's a full-time student. And he talked to the freshmen. Did you go to freshman convocation? Oh, it was special. Y'all should have came. Okay. Anyway, he gave a talk, and he talked about what it meant to be a privateer. And I'm taking too much time. Okay. Well, if you actually Google it, privateers were not pirates. That's the difference between them. That they actually got something called a letter of marque, M-A-R-Q-U-E, from either the King of England or the King of France. And what the letter of marque said is that they could determine their own destiny, and they could actually do anything they want. They could rob and pillage, and it was okay because they couldn't be arrested because the King of England or the King of France, whichever one gave them letter of marque, gave them the authority to do it. The deal was they would never attack French or British ships. All right? We'll leave you alone if you leave us alone. Okay? And so the letter of marque was, and Jean Lafitte was one of those, Lafitte Village. And the reason why this university, it has a Lafitte Village, and the privateers are our athletic mascot, is that legend says when Jean Lafitte came to fight in the Battle of New Orleans, he parked his big giant schooners right out by the lake. I'm not pointing that way, okay? And took smaller boats down Bayou St. John, which actually ran all the way to St. Louis Cathedral. So he actually parked out there, and he got in the smaller boats, and so we have some historical significance to where we are. I mean, they think that Jean Lafitte helped us win the Battle of New Orleans, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the story.
Yeah, that's the story. It helped out Andrew Jackson. So anyway, so David said that the letter of marque allowed the privateers to seize and control their own destiny. And what he said was, when you got your high school diploma and your letter of admission to the University of New Orleans, you got your letter of marque. And the letter of marque allowed you to come to the University of New Orleans and to seize and control your own destiny. Isn't that cool?
Good.
Okay. I think he's Googling letter of marque. In fact, I can't remember. You Googling it? I was hoping you did. I saw you going M-A-R-Q-U-E. In fact, one of my vice presidents of business affairs actually sent away for a letter of marque. And it's like, I don't know what he paid for it, but his name's there in Lassen's office. His name's there because he has a letter of marque. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is you can seize your own destiny by coming to the University of New Orleans. And I think it's a place where you can reach all your aspirations, the aspirational place. I really believe that. I mean, it helped me. But I'm off the subject.
What is your favorite word?
My favorite word, I think, wow, you asked me this last time, I couldn't remember. I think my favorite word is improvement. I think we should always try to improve ourselves professionally, growth. We should improve ourselves as people. We should improve our lot in life. That we should always look to improve, never be satisfied. I guess that's okay.
What is your least favorite word?
Well, I have to say this last time. My least favorite word is, it's a phrase. Is that okay?
Sure.
We can't do that because we've never done it that way. I ask people, why do we do this? Well, we've always done it that way. Well, let's change. Well, no, we can't. We've always done it that way. No, I mean, I think creativity and innovation should be in your mind, and then don't have people tell you, no, we can't do that because we don't do that. Okay.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Wow, I forgot the questions. What turns me on?
Spiritually, creatively, or emotionally?
Wow, that's tough. Other people don't have trouble with this, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's okay if I don't know?
You have to answer.
Okay. I think what really turns me on in that is, and the reason why I'm in this position, is the ability to help other people achieve their goals and aspirations. What turns me on is allow you to seize your destiny. That's okay? Phew, that was a tough one.
What turns you off?
People who want to be obstructive in things. I have this little saying is that let's assume that in whatever you're doing, we pulling rope to go somewhere. It's okay if somebody just hangs on to the rope and doesn't do anything, but the people that pull in the opposite direction, that's the people I have no use for. Or if you're in this boat and some are paddling, some aren't paddling, others are paddling the opposite direction, that really bothers me. There's lots of people in the world like that, by the way.
What is your favorite curse word?
Wow. I usually don't curse. My favorite? I don't know if I have a favorite. I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't really. Yeah, no, I don't have a favorite person. Damn. Wow. Plus, I'm on film too.
Because you're the boss, I'm gonna let you get away with that.
Thank you very much.
What sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise do I love? I think it's just music.
What sound or noise do you hate?
These are different questions than last time.
These are the same questions.
I don't remember. What was I here last year? Yeah. It takes me early in the year. What sound I hate? Any grinding sound.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, I've done a bunch of different things. It's nothing in the healthcare industry. I mean, I've done that before. But I'm always amazed at people who actually can play music. I can't play it. I don't know if you've ever seen him in performance, but I can't play music. I'll tell you a little story. When I was, I'm 65 years old, okay, now you know. When I was in elementary school, probably third or fourth grade, our pest control man was a gentleman by the name of Al Hurt. I ever tell you the story, did I? I mean, Al Hurt was never always Al Hurt. He was a pest control man. And Mr. Al. And this is 50-something years, 58 years ago. And one day, my dad and Mr. Al would come once every 2 or 3 weeks and spray the house. Hey, Mr. Al, when I was home from school, Mr. Al. Then he became Al Hurt. Okay. And my dad comes home one day and he's got a case and it's a trumpet. It had a little dent in it. It was actually one of Al Hurt's early trumpets. My daddy bought it from him because Al Hurt wasn't Irving Mayfield at the time, okay? And so my dad decides I'm going to be a trumpeter. And I remember I was going to Charles E. Ray Grammar School on Robinson and Franklin Avenue, and had a lady across the street who was a music teacher, and after school, twice a week, I had to go take music lessons. I was pitiful. I was absolutely pitiful. And she was mean, too. You got to think back. 1950-something, 1955, 56, and I'm going to this lady's house, and I'm not hitting any notes, and she was mean. And I actually couldn't play a tune. And so finally, after about a year, when my daddy realized trumpet wasn't a thing for me, I stopped going to Mrs. Tisdale. I'll never forget her name. So I wish I could be a musician.
What profession would you like not to do?
I'm not going to say president of the university. I'm glad I don't work on the riverfront anymore, so I wouldn't want to be a longshoreman.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome home.
All right, we open up questions for the president and UNO. Feel free to be honest and forthcoming.
Oh, good. Yes.
So, you were a dentist before. How come you didn't feel like being a dental teacher?
No, I thought about that, but I couldn't use my left arm for about 2 years. And without being in a lot of pain. I could move it, and I had, it's called paresthesia. Anybody you have biology? Paresthesia means that it's not numb, but it's kind of numb, like pins and needles, and it's a little numb. And in fact, seriously, in the wintertime, I only need to put a glove on my right hand. It's cold, but it doesn't bother me. It's been like that. Something happened up my brachial plexus. I'm getting kind of, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, something, they think the nerve sheath was disrupted. My brachial, those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but she knows. And so I'd have to, sometimes, when I was in dental school, sometimes the professor had to sit down next to you and finish up a preparation on the tooth because it wasn't quite right. So I thought about oral pathology, but it just didn't seem to work out. Oh, by the way, I was on pain pills for about 2.5 years, where I woke up in the morning, took a pill, lunchtime took one to go to sleep, and went to physical therapy and stuff. And because of because of the brachial plexus, and once your nerve sheath is damaged, you can't put glue on it. It's just you got to accommodate it. It took me a couple of years.
Next question.
Yes.
I know at LSU a big draw for the school is, they don't want to say it, but their football team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever considered getting another football team here and trying to rebuild that and use that as a draw for the school?
Sure. Let me talk about how athletics is important to the university. Some of your faculty will tell you that athletics is draining money from academics. Anybody tell you that yet? that might happen while you're here. When I first came here to the university in January 2012, my predecessor had decided we wouldn't play Division I athletics anymore. We'd go down to the next division. I got here, and my system president at the time told me I need to rethink that because all the other 8 schools in the UL system were Division I. That's the highest level of athletics. And for a program like us, when we go play basketball to some big schools, they pay us. For example, last year we went to Michigan State when they were number 3 in the country. They paid us $90,000 plus expenses to go up there and get beat. University of Texas El Paso paid us $90,000 to go to El Paso to get beat, but we beat them. You see? So they wasn't real happy, okay? We actually went out there and we beat them 72-69. We'll go this year to San Diego State, who's a good team. We'll go right before commencement, and they're going to pay us to beat us. I mean, they may or may not. We'll go to University of Indiana on December 22nd in Bloomington to play. They'll pay us $90,000. Well, for Division II, they don't pay you because it doesn't count on their record. So the only way that we could actually balance the budget, we had to stay Division I because they pay you for these things. Our women's team gets $40,000 to go somewhere to get beat. It happens all the time. The college get guaranteed games, except we win every now and then. So I decided that we needed to say Division I athletics because I wanted to play the highest level of athletics, so we'd be in the newspaper, we'd be on TV, which we are. So students would say, hey, you must have a good university, because sadly, some high school students choose a university because the football team is good. Mm-hmm. And they major in psychology, not knowing whether psychology is good at that university or not. Mm-hmm. When LSU was undefeated and actually got beat by Alabama, when was that, 2010, 2011? Their spring applications tripled from the year before. Tripled. That doesn't mean that you get a good education there, but their football team's on TV every week. Okay. So anyway, I decided to stay Division I athletics, which we have. And you need to start coming. Our volleyball team's good again. Y'all need to start coming. It's in the HPC. You'd have to walk a little bit for you. I'll tell you, drive your car over the parking lots too. But come to some of the games because we really haven't things. So having said that, I had to get us into a conference. We're in the Southland Conference. And Southeastern's in it, which this year they're number 3 in the country in football in that second division. You know, there's the LSU division, there's South. And so when they let us in the conference, they told me I had to seriously consider having football. I said, great. Total athletic budget right now is $4 million. No money comes from the university. They raise it all themselves. To have a football team, I need a budget of $10 million. I need an additional $6 million. So I need to double and a half the existing budget. I have no idea where we get the $6 million from. Now, the only way we could have it is if you all vote more assessment for athletics. Y'all feel like doing that? You pay a fee, right? You pay athletic fees. That's why if you go to any of the sporting events, you don't pay to get in. That's why y'all should come to games. Okay? Volleyball games start at 6. Last night's match was over at 7:30. You can still go do what you want to do. And we won. And the popcorn's real good there. But the only way I could afford is if we had more students and the students vote an additional fee. Yeah, but no, I'd love to have football here. But I need to find $6 million. Not $6 million once. I need to find $6 million every year. So that's what people understand. Won't you just do this? It only costs $1 million. You have $1 million this year, $1 million next year, $1 million the next year, $1 million the following year. So that's some of the issues. No, I'd love to have football here.
Next question.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. I'm an international student. I'm actually from Nicaragua. And I thought it was interesting that we didn't mention that. Have you considered maybe changing the policy or trying to reach international students a little more?
Oh, yeah. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for somebody. I caught you. I haven't been in Nicaragua. I spent a lot of time in Honduras and Mexico, but I need to go to your country.
Actually, I was born in Costa Rica.
Oh, I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica a couple of times. Yeah, Costa Rica is really nice. Very different than the rest of Central America, actually. Okay, she knows I know what I'm talking about. I've been both in San Jose and San Ramon. I don't know if you're right. Okay. Yeah, but right now about 8% of our student body is international. And thank you for being here. So we decided how we're going to increase our enrollment, given that the city is much smaller than it was before Hurricane Katrina. By the way, 80% of the students come from Jefferson Orleans Parish. Who lives in Orleans Parish in here? Who lives in Jefferson Parish? right? But almost 80% of this room. So that group of potential students is much smaller. So we historically have always been down in Central America is a big place. We recruited a lot of people from Ecuador, you probably know as well. But a lot of El Salvador, Nicaragua, et cetera. I'm telling all the people you know. But that's really all we've ever recruited. So I'm in a process right now. In fact, I spent an hour this morning going through a contract. We're going to contract with a company called Into, I-N-T-O. Why don't you Google that for me? I-N-T-O, capital I-N-T-O. And Into is based in London. And Into works with 13 universities in the United Kingdom, 6 in the United States, will be number 7, and 3 in China, believe it or not. And what they do is they partner with you. They bring students to the university whose English skills aren't quite proficient enough to get into university. So for 1 year, students come to the university and they take English as a second language, intensive English and academic English, which I didn't know the difference until recently. You know the difference, right? I didn't know the difference. I learned things. And they'll do that for a year, and probably the second semester they'll start taking a couple of courses if they feel comfortable. They'll be both graduate and undergraduate students. And then the students will matriculate here. They think 85% of the students in the program will matriculate here. They plan to bring about 600 students a year in second or third year. So 450 will stay and matriculate. The good part about it is that I have to pay no money for this. The UNO Foundation will be the partner of this group. First year they're here, which will be fall 2015. You'll start seeing some from all over the world, by the way, and probably from countries we don't recruit now, like Brazil. You have to learn Portuguese, and a lot from Central Europe, and of course a lot of people from China. There's a lot of people from China. By the way, people in China who are fluent do not want their children to go to college in China. They want them to come to the United States. I've been taught, we just had a Chinese university here. The Chinese government is trying to make universities in China be as attractive as United States universities. So if you have any wealth at all in China, which a lot of people don't have, all their children come to school in the United States. In fact, the guy who's the president of the university was trying to make it attractive. Remember, you only can have one child in China if you follow the rules. His daughter went to the University of Minnesota. Crazy. Okay. So they'll bring those people here. The first year that they're here, the university will benefit about $3.5 million. By year 5, it'll be $46 million. So put that in context. This year, the state's giving us $32 million. Your state's giving us $32 million of a $102 million budget. This company will give us $46 million in year 5. That's 2020. So I'm thinking that by 2020, we got about 800 international students, 750. We have 2,000, 2,500 international students on campus. I closed a child care center, which you thought that I said the world was going to stop rotating. I was on the news. They had a protest on campus because we had 44 kids in a child care center, and we're losing $300,000 a year. I closed it. I said, go somewhere else to bring your kids because I can't afford to lose $300,000. That will become the international center. I don't know if you know about that. Right across the street from the university. You walk out the front door of the university center, you walk right into it. If you look around now, there's trucks, construction trucks. We're renovating the whole inside. Was first told to be ready October 1st. I don't believe them. But I would think for sure by the spring semester it'll be an internet. So all the international organizations, like the Latin American Student Association, et cetera, they'll have a space in there. Center Austria will be in there. All the international studies programs will be in there. Dr. Striffler will have an office in there, Latin American Studies. Dr. Hazlett from International, he's Latin American Studies, Dr. Striffler. They'll actually have space in there, so it'll be a place I envision. Of course, I still want you to go to the University Center across the street, but when your organizations have meetings, et cetera, or you just want to hang out with other international students, it'll actually be a space for you. So yes, it's actually one of my big initiatives to get more international students here.
Yeah, before when I graduated high school, we heard a lot of UNO
Yeah.
at home, and I don't know if you heard of Allison, I forgot her last name. She was in charge of international recruitment. And
Okay.
She did Latin America. She was really good. But
And Jackie
now,
Guerrero did it first. She changed her name. She got married. She moved on.
I know her, but
Jackie
she started
Castro,
after I got here.
Yeah, she moved on. Yeah. She lives in Denver. We actually kept her high for a year, but it just didn't work out. That she she'd have to come from Denver here and go to London.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna stop doing that, by the way.
Okay, yeah, the thing is, I don't hear that much about you, I know back home
Really? Okay,
anymore,
that-
like, I
okay,
stay
I
in
need to-
touch with my school authorities,
Yeah.
and I haven't heard that much.
Well, I need to, when you go home, you go home, you tell them about us, okay? I'll work on that, I didn't know that. No, we're very happy to have some students from Central America. Costa Rica's really nice, too.
Yeah, it is.
Next question.
You said like you were having like financial problems, like you were poor. So is there?
When I was a kid, yeah, I didn't know
When you first
that.
started college, I mean, like.
It was still, my parents were always poor.
Right.
Well, my point is that I didn't know that we didn't have a lot of money to spend. When I went to high school, it was a Catholic high school, I have an older sister who was not married, lived in the house. Her rent was my tuition. Otherwise, my family, they wanted me to go to Catholic college preparatory high school. My mother and father didn't graduate from high school. I forgot to tell you all that. Neither of my parents graduated from high school. I'm the first person in the family to go to college. So they wanted me to be prepared, and then to go to college, I had loans. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know, that's poor is a bad word. We didn't have any, once all the bills were paid at the end of the month, we didn't have any money to do other things. I'm sorry.
No problem. I was just wondering, like, for students that they don't have anybody helping them, that they
Right.
have to take out loans to
Yeah,
pursue
I did
a
that,
career.
yeah.
Exactly. Like, is there any advice? Like, if you go to school, worst case scenario, like you graduate and you having a hard time finding a job or a career, I mean, do you go back to school and get more debt, or do you just work wherever you can get a job to pay off the debt?
Well, what I would do is, I'd take a job knowing to have enough money to go back to school. I do both. I can tell you lots of stories. I meet alums all the time that, one got a degree in history and realized they couldn't really get it. I'm not, the thing is, I don't want to pick on history, but if you don't go to law school, what the hell are you going to do with a history degree? Be a history, high school history teacher, I guess. And then worked and went to University of New Orleans to, either get a different degree or get a master's degree in something. We got more and more, a good friend of mine's daughter who had a degree in sports management, can't find a job. She's now going back to school to get a degree in nursing. And you can get, you go back and you don't have to take the whole 4 years, you take 2 years. So, and she's got a job. So I think, if you really can't get a job in your field, take a job, but that can't be your career, that's what my point. And then come back to school to get something else.
Let me also add that the more targeted you are about what you want to do, people who are targeted get jobs.
Yeah.
Period. There are a lot of jobs available in the city of New Orleans for people of all ages, with a high level of diversity. There are actually industries that can't fill positions.
Oh, yeah.
The hospitality industry and hotels
That's
being.
surprising. Nobody in HRT in here, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, I know. We struggle with that every
Yeah.
semester. So there are a tremendous amount of jobs. One thing that I find with people starting out, beginning their experiences, is that they have ideas of where they should start. I'd probably say that's the first stumbling block to a person having a unsuccessful career, is when you've left the glass too full to be advised by anybody else. Starting points are great. You can't have too many of them. You can't have too much experience. A lot of times folks have an idea of where they should start. They also assess their own experience level. 5 years is not a lot of experience.
No.
You're not an expert after 5 years. And if you are an expert, it's because you were doing something a long time before it. So gaining experience is really important. It's better than a paycheck. So if really getting a place of employment and, starting to get your feet wet to lessen the burden of bills, one, I think having a good outlook on, what's the expectation around this. For instance, if you're going to start out of, you want to go to law school, how much time does that take and how much time does that take you and what's that going to be about?
Sure.
The second thing is, starting off being a young attorney,
They don't make a lot of money.
and let's say if the revenue is reasonable for you, you don't have a lot of other options. You're not going to go start a small business on the side too. You know, so you have a lot of people get out of law school. They think, oh yeah, I'm gonna go into business with my friends, and the next thing you realize is that that's not a profession for that. The other thing is law school is not a great profession for folks that really want to try their own thing.
Right.
That's 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. And it's the same thing I find with musicians. Understanding the terrain of if you want a consistent salary, there's only so many fields that offer that connected with performance of music. So what are the other options? So I would say being targeted is really important. And the best resource you have at UNO really are your professors.
Yes.
And staff folks that you can go to. I think of Dr. Lassen.
Yeah.
Who can give a lot of advice. There's a lot of advice on campus. I think asking for a lot of advice, there's really no right way to win, but there's certainly a wrong way. So that would be what I would add on the end of
Yeah,
Dr. Frost.
sure.
Next question.
Sure. Oh, we get you first. Our hands up before me.
You know how you're talking about adding and dropping,
Discontinuing programs?
Yeah, discontinuing programs. Are you thinking about adding any?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm so glad you asked that question. We just added one. We got permission last week to have a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration. Anybody in business can transfer now, or you can really starts next fall. And the question is why? And that's a question for you. And they're going to have a new healthcare medical center downtown on Tulane Avenue. Has anybody drove around Tulane Avenue lately? Okay, there's going to be 3,600 brand new jobs in that three or four square block area, and they think 22,000 indirect jobs compared, because of that activity. The state of Louisiana's invested $800 million in that building. The VA's building one next door. We talked to the person at the VA. She thinks it's going to be 1,300 brand new positions that the VA doesn't have, and they're going to need there. So we're trying to prepare people at entry level. And healthcare administration is actually a pretty good industry career. It's inflation proof. When things are bad, people are still sick, the government pays for most everybody's health care, so you got a job for life. And I'm a baby boomer, might be the only baby boomer in the room, that as we're getting older, we're gonna live longer, but we're gonna be sickly as we live longer. Nobody's dropping dead at 50 years old. We live to be 80, and we got a lot of, we in and out of the hospital with different things. So healthcare administration is one. We just got approval for you engineers, you two engineers. It's a certificate in coastal engineering and coastal sciences. It's a graduate certificate, so when you finish your bachelor's program, you can get that. So you can work with the Coastal Restoration College, which is big business. In fact, the Water Act, Louisiana's supposed to get $1 billion from the federal government, $1 billion over the next 10 years to work on coastal restoration. So there'll be lots of jobs from that. We also just put in a letter of, it's called a letter of intent for a degree in transportation studies, focused on port administration. Could you go work for the Port of New Orleans, any port, like to understand all the logistics and all? That's not my field. It's actually in the Transportation Institute, which is part of urban planning, that you can get a degree in transportation studies focused on ports administration. So it's actually 4 new programs. The 2 of them are certificate programs, but the other 2 are real programs. So we may, the question is going, we may end up with still a lot of programs. We might have more than 80, but we have ones that we know that meets the needs of you. I mean, you really don't, we have to know for you because you're, and meets the needs of the business community, because I want to make sure y'all have a career when you finish.
Have you ever thought about adding petroleum engineering?
Yes, Matt, I'll tell you what. Geez, I like you. I've been approached by 2 business people in the city with some help from one of our big donors to expand engineering. And the request is we do petroleum and or chemical engineering. Well, we set up perfectly to do chemical engineering right now because we have a pretty good chemistry department. So we're going out that road right now that we're going to expand, and these outside people have committed to raise several $1 million for us seed money to do it. And petroleum will be an issue because the people in LSU and Lafayette will tell us you don't need another one. They don't understand the politics of it. I just can't say, let's start a new program, I gotta go through. It's taken us a year and a half to get the bachelor's degree in healthcare administration approved. There's a lot of bureaucracy involved. So another university can say, we don't want you to have it, and then I gotta spend 6 months explaining to them, it's okay, we have it. So we decided that we're gonna look for chemical first. We're in the very beginning stages with the hope of adding petroleum later. How you like that?
I want to be a petroleum engineer.
Yeah, well, part of it will be is that, I think it's in again, I don't know the distance of engineering, but in mechanical, you can actually kind of like focus on petroleum. You understand what I mean? Your degree will say mechanical, but you'll have a focus area in petroleum. That'll happen before you graduate.
But the adding petroleum?
Well, at least a focus area.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Chemical will be for sure before you graduate.
Ma'am.
Hi, Rita.
Hi. I was interested in finding out if you know why the University of Houston does so well in their HRT department, and why, if New Orleans is such a huge hospitality spot for conventions and obviously other events that come down here, why our university suffers in getting enrollment in our HRT program.
Well, actually, HRT is pretty big, it turns out, relative to the rest of the university. Well, Houston actually has, U of H actually has a Hilton Hotel on campus. We're not quite there yet. But we're working to expand the HRT program. In fact, I gave them a building in the back of campus, right next to, I'm pointing around, right there. That's right next to Privateer Place. Used to be the police station, if you were here yet. None of the new people know about that. That total building is theirs now. So they're just about ready to put in a wine lab. You know, you major in that, you get to taste wine. It's actually going to be a room that is like if you went to vineyards to the tasting. Anybody been tasting at a vineyard? Okay, it's going to look like that. It's a big room, and there'll be all the wine, and there'll be the coolers and stuff, and they'll come out and so the students can understand the different varieties and stuff like that, which I'm not too good at that. That's coming really soon. That'll happen. The only thing between us and that is $250,000, and I had lunch with the guy the other day who thinks he's going to give us the money. So that'll be happening real soon, before the end of this academic year. But that helps us doing that. Also, we added some software now from that building. We can train you how to use the software that hotel does, help those do to book people and stuff. You know, that we bought that. Also costs money. But this year has been the 11th straight year that the masters, 100% of the master's students, graduates had jobs before they graduated. And this is the first year in a couple of years, every bachelor's degree HRT major at graduation had a job in hospitality. So we're actually doing pretty good, and we're growing, and working hard to make it even better.
Take
But,
that.
Yeah. I wish we had a Hilton Hotel on campus.
Sorry, I must have misheard you when I came in, that's why I thought you.
I wish we had no, I said nobody in here is an HRT, which surprises me. Because you want a job when you graduate. Whenever I meet parents, I said, if you want your son or daughter to have a job when they graduate, let them major in hospitality, in restaurant, hotel, restaurant, tourism administration. It's a big deal around here. Plus, there's other things too. I didn't realize you can. I learned this since I'm president. Every major city has wonderful country clubs that rich people go to. Well, somebody's got to manage it. And we've got HRT graduates managing these very large country clubs that make really nice living. Never thought about that, you know, because there's weddings there and all this sorts of stuff, and you always have to have meals there and stuff like that. Yeah. No, HRT program's doing pretty good. I'm shocked that nobody in this room is an HRT major.
Okay, I must have heard you wrong.
Yeah, you must have heard me. Yeah. But I wish we did have a hotel here.
Can we find a partnership with one of the hotels though?
Yeah, apparently in the past they almost put one across the street. Where the research park is, they were going to put one there and something happened, and I don't know.
The sign still says hotel on it.
What's that?
There's a sign that says hotel and the arrow.
Yeah, it was going to be there. They don't take. By the way, the university doesn't own the research park. We have an affiliation agreement with them, so I don't really. It's a bad situation, but I don't have any control of what goes on over there, that's not good. But they're affiliated with us, so if they exist because of us. But I don't have any control over them.
Last two questions.
Wow, time flies, huh? You're having fun. Yes.
Mine's a two-part question. I
Well,
don't want to knock someone else
It
out.
only counts as one.
Okay.
After your car accident, physical ailments aside, did you feel at a loss spiritually that you could no
Absolutely.
longer, okay.
I was very depressed. In fact, I went to my physician one day and I told him I can't say I'm depressed. What am I going to do with myself the rest of my life? And he gave me medication. He gave me Elavil. Has anybody ever taken an Elavil? I'll tell you what, I took it and I didn't know where I was for about 3 days. And I stopped taking it. I mean, I didn't need to be sedated. So I had a lot of problems. Prior to that, my wife always gets mad at me. It's my current wife, because she said if I say my second wife, it means I'm gonna have a third. So my current wife, which we almost married 20 years. My previous marriage was, I didn't marry a Catholic. I'm Catholic, and I'm old school Catholic. My grandmother and all that stuff, and so I didn't go to church because I'd married outside of the church, as they say. So I didn't go to church and all that stuff. So I started going to Mass again, and then I realized it was really okay to go to Mass. You think, well, I can't go to Mass because I'm married outside of the church. And so I actually started going, and because my former wife couldn't understand why I wanted to go to church. So I actually had to do some things. But I was in a pretty bad place for about 7, 8 months. What was going to happen? Because the interesting thing was I had disability insurance. Of course, you don't think you don't need it. My house note was $500 more a month than my disability check every month. That's scary. A mortgage on my house. Now, my wife had a job, we went to savings and stuff, so it really, until I got back on my feet, that sort of adds to the burden. I'm in pain all the time, I can't practice my profession, and I don't have any money. So I was in a very, very bad place. And I went to counseling and things like that, and went to church, just sat there and, just, I don't know if y'all do that. I mean, you can practice your spirituality any way you want, but when I go to church, it's really, I enjoy sitting there. I don't know, I'm not telling you to do that, but it's just, I don't know if it's a safe place or stuff, but I just like it. And I'm a very active Catholic now too. I go, you don't have to be Catholic, by the way. But, whatever, if you do have faith, you just practice it, I guess the best way to tell you.
Last question.
That was only part A, huh?
Well, and then I was just gonna say, how long did it take you to decide on your new career path?
That's a good question. Probably 2 years.
How old were you
I was 36.
when you had your accident?
Yeah. And guess what the date was? It was 7/11,
Oh.
1986. 7/11?
7/11.
Yeah. Well, I guess you look back on life. I'm lucky to be a university president. I mean, my life isn't that bad, by the way. I really enjoy my life. So at one point, it was lucky. I'm sure I would have enjoyed being continuing my dental practice. But I'm not like, ooh, I wish I still was a dentist. I don't think that, I'm happy. I'm in a very good place spiritually, emotionally. Okay.
All right, last question.
Okay. Yes.
I think I've gotten several emails, or a number of emails, and I think I've read some things when you kind of log on to UNO. But the emails sort of say, have you chosen a minor? Have you chosen your major? And then if you have you chosen a minor? And would you please, would you please do so ASAP?
I think mine is optional, isn't it?
Well, my question is, does that circle back to what you were talking about as far as adding and dropping?
Discontinuing.
Study areas? Okay.
Yeah.
Study areas?
Yeah.
Are you doing, basically, is that about doing a poll to see?
No, unfortunately, we're not really asking students, which we should. The faculty are doing. The faculty own the curriculum at a university. So what's being taught is the possession of the faculty, not mine or any administrator. So we've asked the faculty to look at all the programs. And other universities have done it. Loyola's doing it now. University of Alaska's done it a bunch. So we found a couple of models to look to see, and there's 6 criteria. Is it essential to the mission of the university? Is there external demand for the program? We get a career. Is there internal demand of students showing up saying, I really want this? The cost is one of them. We actually have programs here, I need to tell you. We have programs here that have more faculty than students majoring in them. Do you want me to tell you that again? We have programs at this university where there's more faculty than students who are majoring in that program.
Programs plural?
Beg pardon?
Plural?
We have,
More than
we
one
have,
program
we have
like
three.
that?
We have one program that Board of Regents eliminated, told us we couldn't teach it anymore, and we have 7 faculty here in that department. Want me to say that again? We got a program that doesn't exist anymore, major or minor, that the Board of Regents 5 years ago eliminated, said you can't offer that program anymore, and we still have 6 faculty here. That's the kind of things we're gonna figure out. So, right, I mean,
That's crazy.
of course it's crazy.
I mean, crazy, crazy.
It's crazy whether we had all the money in the world,
Yeah.
then
But when
because
it's tight.
we got resources that are not being efficiently utilized, right? Where's my business person? We're not being very efficient with our resources. So that's what the review is gonna pull out. The review is also gonna say, these 10 programs have to be the best they can be, have to be the best in the state, so you better give us more money. So it's two ends of the equation. We're not just trying to find programs we need to discontinue. We're trying to identify those programs that the faculty come to consensus that these really have to be good. That makes sense? And then logically, if I discontinue some programs, I'll have free up some money that I can put over there. I mean, it's that simple. We do it every day, don't we? I mean, you know, let's not have HBO anymore on the cable because I want to spend the money somewhere else. Let's still keep the cable. We don't need HBO. I really don't watch it. So let me save that $30 and spend it somewhere else, right? We do that every day. That's kind of what we're doing here.
Well, Nicole, we have anything we need to announce?
So,
Let's thank our guest, President
thank
UNO.
you. Fix the parking lot.
It's not just